The idea for the Vincennes watermelon drop originated December 31st, 2007, in the living room of Mr. Lindenberg, as he watched with several friends the New York's Rocket Eve special. How disappointing Lindenberg and his friends thought that no family-friendly festival had been planned locally. We couldn't find anything that we really wanted to do, so they ended up with a quiet evening at home, he said. We watched the ball drop in New York City and thought we should have something like that around here. We thought Vincennes needed a quality family event, something you can bring everyone to, and that gives people in town something different to do on New Year's Eve. The idea took root and grew from a quaint living room conversation to what is now a 30-person planning committee iron out the details of what they hope is an inaugural watermelon drop and what could be better than a large lighted watermelon to best represent Knox County, the watermelon capital of Indiana. The City Council recently passed a resolution supporting the event and allowing them to hold it on Patrick Henry Drive between 1st and 2nd Streets in Vincennes. The City Board of Works, the County Council, and the Commissioners also have expressed their support. Our vision is that we will lower a constructed watermelon, Lindbergh said, possibly out of paper mache. We'll have a countdown and at 0 maybe splat some real watermelons. And we hope to have fireworks as the finale. The planning committee also hopes to have entertainment throughout the evening, is inviting local organizations to set up booths during the festivities. We want to promote the melon industry downtown Vincennes and our historical sites, Lindbergh said. We hope to bring some national attention to our little town of Vincennes. In doing some research for the event, Lindbergh said, came across several cities that held a New Year's Eve celebration similar to that of Times Square. But Vincennes would be first to drop a watermelon. They thought the event, if successful, would bring much attention to Vincennes. It seemed like a great idea, he said. This will be an outdoor activity that will give people of Vincennes and the surrounding communities something to do on New Year's Eve. It brings attention to the great produce in the county, but it also is an activity that people can get involved in at a time of year when there isn't much to do. City Council member Shirley Rose said she too wanted to get involved. I think everybody is also looking for something to do on New Year's Eve, Rose said. There's not much to do in this area. I normally watch TV and watch New York City bring in the new year. I think this might be something fun to do, and I think it's something that could really keep on growing. Lindbergh said the committee will now focus on raising money to fund the event. They aren't sure yet how much the project will cost. All this isn't coming for free, Lindbergh said, but we'll see if we can't pull this thing off. So build a watermelon they did, a really big watermelon. The 550-pound, 18-foot tall steel structure was built by Miller Machine and Welding at 406 South 15th Street in Vincennes and painted with spray foam by Jeff Burgess, owner of Burgess Construction and Installation in Bruceville. Fire Chief Mike Langford, who also sits on the 40-member planning committee, will now paint it himself to look like a watermelon. Festivities for the first New Year's Eve watermelon drop, December 31st, 2008. Along Patrick Henry Drive, and the Evansville-based rhythm and blues band Small Train will perform at 10 p.m. Food vendors will be on hand to sell warm drinks and food and even roses. So you can purchase a rose for your sweetheart at midnight, Lindenberg said. At about 11:45 p.m., the reigning Indiana Watermelon Queen, Maggie Bailey, will sing and help to usher in the year 2009 by pushing the button that will begin raising the watermelon 100 feet over Patrick Henry Square. We will raise and illuminate the watermelon over a 60-second count up to midnight, Lindenberg said. Then, as a grand finale of sorts, 9 real watermelons will drop from the bottom of the fabricated one, 9 to signify ushering in of 2009. We did a test drop 2 or 3 weeks prior to see what the splatter zone would be, to see how far we'd need to keep people back, and things like that, Lindbergh said. The evening will culminate with fireworks display at midnight. Shirley Rose quoted, "I think it's going to be a lot of fun," she said. "I'm looking forward to it, and I know I'm planning on going down. The committee has really worked hard on this. I think we could really draw a huge crowd down there." Vincennes welcomed in the new year with the second watermelon drop downtown at the Riverfront Pavilion. While the temperature that year was actually a degree higher than last year, 19 degrees, according to the National Weather Service, a northwest wind with gusts as high as 14 miles per hour made it seem all that much colder, which probably accounted for the smaller crowd on hand to witness the nationally known drop. Still, an estimated crowd of 300 or so braved the cold, and the celebratory spirits of those on hand provided more than enough warmth for the evening's festivities, which included a fireworks display after the 10 homegrown melons had been dropped from beneath the 18-foot, 550-pound watermelon. Depending on one's disposition, either 2010 was washed out in a deluge or 2011 was welcomed in with all the hope that comes with a spring shower. It rained on New Year's Eve heavily as the clock neared midnight, but that hardly dampened the enthusiasm of the couple of hundred hardy wet souls who stayed downtown to witness the third annual watermelon drop. At times, it was hard to see the giant 18-foot-long, 500-pound man-made melon suspended some 100 feet above. However, CBS Sunday morning will broadcast a video of the drop on its program. The year 2012 was ushered in with fireworks and watermelons New Year's Eve as the fourth annual watermelon drop in Vincennes was held downtown at the Riverfront Pavilion, 102 North 2nd Street. The crowd that year had been better than we've had since the first year, said Friends, a member of the committee which organizes the event. We've got a couple of truck drivers from Kansas City who heard about the drop and stopped to see it before they headed on. The drop, which had earlier been tapped as one of the 10 quirkiest New Year's Eve celebrations in the country, was this year live streamed for broadcast in Japan. At the stroke of midnight, 12 homegrown watermelons dropped 100 feet from beneath the 18-foot, 500-pound man-made melon. A dozen makes quite a mess, said Sandy Stewart, another committee member. I don't even want to think about cleaning up after the 25 drop. One of the quirkiest New Year's Eve celebrations in the country returns to downtown with the 5th annual watermelon drop to be held at the Riverfront Pavilion at 102 North 2nd Street. At the stroke of midnight, 13 county-grown watermelons will drop from the 8-foot, 500-pound melon suspended 100 feet into the night sky, bright by a fireworks display. There is no better way to usher in the new year of 2013 than with splatting watermelons and fireworks, said Shannon O'Toole, chair of the National Watermelon Drop Committee that organizes the celebration. The watermelon drop has been featured on the CBS Sunday morning show, and editors of the world's largest travel site, TripAdvisor Incorporation, listed the event among its top 10 quirkiest New Year's Eve celebrations in America. But new for this year will be the barbecue cook-off contest. Judging will be 9 p.m. that night. As the celebration begins, the top prize is $500 with $250 second prize. On 2013, December 31st, CNN broadcast from Watermelon Drop what began on a whim by a group of friends looking for something to do on New Year's Eve 6 years prior went worldwide in 2013 as CNN came to Vincennes to broadcast from the site of the Watermelon Drop, downtown Vincennes. Earlier in the evening, Gallagher brought his last smash show to Ader Auditorium at Lincoln High School and then made his way downtown to count down the new year. And winners of the Gallagher Look-alike contest held during the annual New Year's Eve Watermelon Drop, Gerald Clark from Oaktown, the adult winner, and Caleb Stoner, the youth winner, posed with the Genuine article prior to the drop. that Tuesday night downtown at Patrick Henry Square. Here in this video is Gary Tuckman, a reporter for CNN, live at the Bottoms Up Bar that's almost right next to where the watermelon drop event happens. On this night, they will be ushering in the year 2014. And as he mentioned, there wasn't too many sober people in that bar, and by the video, you can tell that was right. And that poor man, Gary Tuckman, being pestered by the individual behind him with his little blowhorn. CNN was doing a live broadcast from Vincennes on the watermelon drop. This got a lot of excitement for this year's watermelon drop. Since this bar is so close to the watermelon drop event, a lot of people will stay inside there, keep warm, get intoxicated, and then right before the event they'll go outside and join the ones already outside that's too young to get into the bar. So the crowd doesn't look too bad right at the beginning, but then it gets larger as both groups actually merge to watch the event. This is actually a very exciting thing to happen to Vincennes with the live CNN reporting. And they were connected with the reporters in New York at Times Square. So this thing went worldwide. Excitement is growing as Vincennes prepares for its 7th annual watermelon drop on New Year's Eve. The wacky celebration, complete with fireworks, multiple dance teams, music, and watermelons dropping to a platform at midnight, has drawn national attention since it began in 2008. Last year, the watermelon drop attracted CNN reporter Gary Tuckman, who broadcast live coverage as part of CNN's New Year's Eve show that attracted more than 2 million viewers. This year, former Speaker of Indiana House of Representatives John R. Gregg of Sanborn has been chosen to pull the cord for the 7th annual watermelon drop on New Year's Eve downtown at Patrick Henry Square. At midnight, 15 Knox County watermelons strapped to the belly of an 18-foot-long watermelon will fall 75 feet to a platform to mark the arrival of the new year. Past watermelon drops have been featured on the CBS Sunday Morning Show and Country Living's 7 Wacky Ways to Ring in the New Year. The editors of the world's largest travel site, TripAdvisor Incorporated, listed the event among its 211 top 10 quirkiest New Year's Eve celebrations in America. This year, 16 locally grown watermelon were dropped onto this platform below to celebrate the arrival of 2016. But not before our Knox County Sheriff, Mike Morris, fires a replica of a Smalls rifle, the official rifle of the state of Indiana, to kick off this year's New Year's Eve watermelon drop and Indiana State Bicentennial. Smalls rifle was invented by John Small, Knox County, and thus Indiana's first sheriff. The watermelon drop is now in its 10th year and has gained notoriety all over the country, perhaps even around the world. And this year, it was featured in Reader's Digest and Countrywoman magazine. Last year, it kicked off Indiana's bicentennial celebration, and before that, it was included in a segment of CNN titled Forget Times Square, Things to Do on New Year's Eve Closer to Home. It was also named one of the best small festivals in the world by The Guardian, a British publication. 2014, it was featured in Smithsonian Magazine in an article about weird things cities drop on New Year's Eve. And editors of the travel site TripAdvisor listed the event in its 2011 top 10 quirkiest New Year's Eve celebrations in America. The list goes on, but the quirky event in which a 500-pound, 18-foot-long watermelon is hosted into the air at midnight, and at the stroke of midnight, real watermelons, one for each year counting back to 2000, are released to drop into this platform. The wild and wacky watermelon drop for New Year's Eve 2018 returns to Vincennes downtown, located near the riverfront at 1st and Main Streets. The celebration will feature music by the Coatneys, led by Casey James Coatney, beginning at 9 p.m. and a giant heated tent, which will also include beer and wine. Ileana Watermelon Queen Katie Ellerman will welcome the audience and reign over the watermelon drop. The 10th annual watermelon drop has again attracted national attention. The watermelon drop for 2018-2019 is under new leadership. Will McCormick, part owner of Best Way Express, stepped up this year to take the place of Rick Lindenberg and John Friends, the two founders and longtime coordinators for the annual downtown New Year's Eve event. Mark Hill, volunteer and committee member, stayed on to offer guidance, and both he and McCormick say this year's watermelon drop will be smaller and more streamlined event. In late 2019, many of the organizers and a gentleman who actually came up with the idea of the watermelon drop for the New Year's Eve event for reasons of their own, wanted to step away from it. They still believe in the event, but they were hoping that maybe a nonprofit or a local organization would step up and take it over. And many of the gentlemen that was involved in the watermelon drop are willing to stay on and help the new group get this watermelon drop going. And if not, it may not happen in December 31st, 2020. But what a lot of people didn't know in 2019 was in 2020 we were going to have a pandemic, a COVID pandemic. There would not be any events that year, especially one as large as the watermelon drop. And in 2021, that might not even happen then either. Between some of the organizers stepping down, 2020, the COVID pandemic, a lot of people just kind of forgot about the watermelon drop. Until every New Year's Eve, I will see people on Facebook. Why don't they have the watermelon drop anymore? Where did it go? What happened? Now you know. In 2019, people stepped away from the event, hoping someone else would take it up, and no one did. Everyone loved the watermelon drop, a New Year's Eve event. And personally, I'd like to thank everyone that was involved in bringing this event to Vincennes. It made national attention. It brought people from out of town. But I thank each and every one of you. Thank you.